jazz dancers, and your favorite mascot, the Bear. And now, let's meet the members of the 2022-23 Utah Jazz, each accompanied by 2 junior jazz players. At guard, 6'5" from Kansas, number 30, Ochai Agbaji. At guard, 6'5" from Virginia Tech, number 6, Nikhil Alexander Walker. At center, 7 feet from Kansas, number 20, Udoka Azubuike. At guard, at 6'4" from Florida State, number 5, Malik Beasley. At guard, 6'6" from Argentina, wearing number 10, Leandro Bolmaro. At guard, 6'3" from Baylor, wearing number 13, Jared Butler. Guard, 6'5" from Missouri, number 00, Jordan Clarkson. At guard, 6'1" from Ohio State, number 11, Mike Conley. Forward, 6'7" from Italy, number 16, Simone Fontecchio. At 6'8", forward, from Connecticut, number 22, Rudy Gay. At guard, 6'4" from Iowa State, number 0, Talon Horton-Tucker. At forward, 6'6" from Arizona, number 3, Stanley Johnson. At guard, 6'7" from UCLA, number 33, Johnny Juzang. At center, 7'1" from Auburn, number 24, Walker Kessler. At guard, 6'2" from Vanderbilt, number 38, Saban Lee. At forward, 7 feet from Finland, number 23, Lauri Markkanen. At forward and center, 6'11" from Gonzaga, number 41, Kelly Olynyk. At guard at 6'1" from Alabama, wearing number 2, Colin Sexton. At forward, 6'9" from Kentucky, number 8, Jared Vanderbilt. At center, 6'11" from Indiana, wearing number 40, Cody Zeller. Okay, a big hand, ladies and gentlemen, for your Utah Jazz. TV voice, Greg Bollerjack.
Thank you, Dan. Jazz Nation, hello. How are you? Oh, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. We're back. Bear, I missed you. I missed you. Hey, joining us today, Junior Jazz players. There they are. Give yourself a hand. All 2,000 of you got here a little early today. This is the 40th year of our Junior Jazz program. It's the strongest in the nation, 60,000 strong, and I'm so glad you're a part of it. If you are interested to continue to play Junior Jazz, it's really easy. Go to the website, juniorjazz.com. You can find your league and register. And again, we hope you all have a great, great season. Now, we've invited several Junior Jazz players to serve as honorary coaches today, and I get a chance to introduce them right now. So, first, say hello to Marty Ogden. Marty. Trey Taylor. Malia Nelson. Cade Hazing. Haley Taylor. Say hello to Trey Bridge. Taya Ogden. Last but not least, Bo Chatlin. Our Junior Jazz coaches. So, here's what's going to happen this morning. We're going to play in this open scrimmage. The team will play 4 20-minute quarters to 25. So you'll see a lot of basketball before the top of the hour. It's going to go 1 hour, so sit back and enjoy. I'm going to walk over here and talk to the head coach of the Utah Jazz. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Coach Will Hardy. Will, it's great to see you. I know you've traveled here many times in this building, but this is your crowd. What do you think?
What's up, Utah? Best home court advantage in the NBA. I played a lot of games here. I'm glad I'm on your side now.
We are too. Will, after the 2 road games up in Edmonton and Portland, you come back, you've had a week of practice. Break that down, what you were looking to accomplish, and what did you accomplish?
We had 2 games to look at on film, and a lot of stuff we got to keep tightening up. 11 days night here in this building, so we got a lot of work to keep doing to be ready for that night.
I know you're trying to build continuity, and I thought we saw that in that second game against the Blazers.
Yeah, I think we improved from game 2 to game 1, so we got to just keep doing that every single day. These guys are bought in and really trying to get to know each other and get to know our staff, so we've been working really hard in training camp and look forward to opening night.
Last question, what would you like to see this morning in these 4 20-minute, 25-point scrimmages?
Yeah, I just want the fans to get to know our team. This is a great group of guys, really competitive, highly energetic. You guys will see that tonight on the floor, and you'll see it all year.
That's Coach Will Hardy. Thank you, Coach. So,
thank you, Craig Bollerjack.
Let's play Jazz basketball.
And here, the head coach Will Hardy here with Earl Bailey and Big T, what's been your reaction so far to seeing these guys in our 2 preseason games and also just at practice and around, and then also our content day was amazing. These guys are such great kids, but so mature.
I just want to know, am I as good looking as Ron Boone?
No.
Oh, okay, I thought that'd be the answer.
I mean, I give you a lot, but nobody's as good looking as Ron Boone.
No, in answer to your question, man, obviously we were on the road with the Jazz for a while and had a chance to see them play in that first scrimmage. And, a lot of questions to be answered, but I think what we saw in the second one against the Trailblazers was they're starting to come together. The most important thing, I think, is the chemistry that's being built right now, the trust with the coach and the system, and it's exciting to see these guys get out here for the fans today here.
So a lot, Will just said, you got, whatever it is, 11 days till opening day. So a lot still be done. I mean, I think figuring out what rotations, how players are working, and that may be a work in progress this whole time, I think, in getting, each of them getting to know each other and who work well together. Does Colin Sexton play well with Malik Beasley? Does Mike Conley play better with Jordan Clarkson?
Yeah.
I was super impressed by Jordan as a starter in Portland and how he just completely changed his game. I talk about Jordan as a chameleon with his personality because he can go from hanging with one guy to another to living outside for a week. He just has that ability. He did it as a player, too. He completely changed his game beautifully to be a starter the other night.
Yeah, he did. And I think a lot of that's still a work in progress. I think when people look at the new guys that are here, what they may forget is that the guys who are still here, like Jordan Clarkson and Mike Conley, they have an adjustment to make as well. Mike Conley, when he was with the Grizzlies all those years, was the consummate leader for that team. But, with Rudy Gobert, and Donovan Mitchell here, they were kind of the standout leaders. Now Mike Conley has to kind of change that mindset and say, hey, listen, these guys are going to look up to me. They're going to follow me. Jordan Clarkson, a sixth man coming off the bench, has to be a leader as well. Now he's changing his game, like you said, not just on the court, but off the court as well.
Now, as a broadcast crew, we don't have to get to know each other. We have team chemistry. We're all together. So I'm going to show a moment of team chemistry here. Before introducing the great Craig Bolerjack, I'm going to ask you one more question because I saw him walk up the stairs and know that he still does not have any air. And so I will ask you about Kelly Olynyk and how vital he's been to this before we bring in Craig Bolerjack so he doesn't sound winded. See, that's the team chemistry, teamwork that we're trying to work here.
Yeah, you're actually passing. I know you didn't play a lot, but that's good. That's a good assist.
No, I generally am a ball hog.
Well, Ron Boone taught you that, I'm sure.
Hot Rod taught me that.
Well, Kelly Olynyk, I think he's going to be a great addition. His game isn't fancy. He's the kind of guy who obviously came out of a great college program in Gonzaga, but he went 0 for 7 that first night against Toronto. And I saw him in the elevator right before the second game, and I said, look, I think every shot you took that game was a good shot. You just have to find it. Once you settle down and figure out what the scheme of things is, you're going to be fine. I like your game. I think you're going to be a great asset. And he appreciated that, first of all, because he's wearing number 41. He's got to represent as well. Right.
I mean, it's unusual for a 41 to go 0 for 7.
Hey, don't start looking up those old stats. But I like the addition of Kelly Olynyk. He's been around long enough, and he'll make a great adjustment.
All right, let's welcome in Craig Bolerjack, who will now, the elite physical marvel that he is, just jetted up those stairs from his interview on the floor with Will Hardy.
He's still trying to catch his breath.
I got to tell you, it is always my favorite thing here, Craig, watching opposing announcers. The first time they ever are late for a broadcast, they come up the stairs at altitude and the pitch of our stairs to watch them like, oh my gosh, I'm out of breath.
I just got a week's worth of workout in that 1 minute walk up the stairs. But David and Big T, it's going to be fun. The crowd is amazing. A lot of changes as you guys spoke of, but I look around and just saw people standing outside waiting to get in. Got 2,000 Junior Jazz fans in the house, and players have been just open with them on the floor, walking around. Saw the owner, Ryan Smith, and David Fitzdale. It's amazing, the newness that you feel in this building.
So we've gotten to spend time with all the players. The Jazz did a wonderful job.
Yes, they did.
Travis Henderson, Jeremy Brunner, along with Derek Garduno and others, set up a content day for us that was
fantastic.
7 hours of good
I
stuff.
couldn't write it. And then our 7, so let's start at the back end. We're 7.5 hours into this thing. We're punch drunk, silly, and Walker Kessler walks in and puts us all on the ground laughing with a comedy routine for like 12 minutes as a 21-year-old rookie who like owned the room. I actually thought that was my takeaway is, wow, this kid like has known he was going to be here his whole life. He was raised as a basketball player, and he's really funny.
Well, when he said I'm a really good-looking guy, he had us in stitches, right from the start. But I like the poise.
I asked him, when your teammates, when the fans talk about Walker Kessler, what do you want them to say? He goes, I mean, it'd be really cool if they said I was really
good looking.
Hey, you know who he kind of looks like?
Oh, yeah.
No, they were seen in the same room at the same time for the first time yesterday. Walker Kessler was holding his media session yesterday, and Will Hardy walked into the room to prove to us that they were not the same person. Will Hardy's young enough that for a while we thought they might have been the same person.
Yeah, there's an eerie similarity.
There is.
There really is. Will's all of 34, and Kessler's 22.
Yeah.
But no, I think Walker Kessler, he said it interesting to us, an interesting statement. He has actually been traded. He played for 3 teams before he got, before he puts on a Jazz uniform. I mean, it's the way the world works in the NBA, T. You know that. But I like his demeanor. I like what we saw in those 2 preseason games in Edmonton against Toronto and against the Blazers. You see a spark of really high level, why he was the 22nd pick in the draft.
Yeah, and the other thing I liked, other than the comedy that he brought, was, remember that part at the end, the interview where he just kind of broke down the anatomy of shot blocking.
Yes.
Right, and why he's so good at that. And the question was, well, does it really translate? I think we've had some of that conversation. Does it translate from college to the pros? And I think it does, especially for a guy like him who, talks about learning from a guy like Rudy Gobert, wanting to be a great defender. And that's where it starts. You have to want to be a great defender. And I think it's going to translate just fine.
So a bunch of things on Walker Kessler. Interesting. I do want to point out, just in fairness to Thurl, in 928 games, he only went 0 for 7 once.
Why are you going there? Why?
He was busy. He was quiet. He was quiet for about a minute.
I know what he was doing.
So what he was doing was over there knocking through Basketball Reference wherever he's going. But he's
got some of my good games too. I hope he'll bring out later on.
There was, we'll make sure guys get ejected in the first 30 seconds so that you actually get your team. I mean, clearly you should have started the whole time. So, 2 things on Walker Kessler that I think are really interesting. One is to what you guys are talking about, that he does his film study, so serious about the game. I don't know that all the things he talked to you about that day was really cool for me, watching him talk about, hey, I lead him this way and I can block with both hands, and he's literally, he and Big T were like on the, kind of walking through a play. I don't know that I actually believe all that translates to an NBA athlete who can get up 4 inches higher than a college athlete and does it faster and all this. But eventually you figure that out. The only way eventually you figure that out is by taking it as seriously and with the film study that he's doing right now. Do I think it's going to translate when the first time that, some 6'7" NBA level player instead of some SEC player comes at him on the 3rd night when Jalen Green comes down the lane and he's 3? No, I don't. But do I think it will maybe 24 months from now? Sure. The other thing I think that's so interesting, I want to get your perspective on, Big T, is that Walker Kessler talked to us on that day on his skill development. It was clear to me that we're at the beginning of the first set of generational big men who don't come in thinking about being a post player. If you think about the way players have evolved over the years, if you're 6'4", and you're in like 8th grade or 9th grade, they put your back to the basket and you're the big guy. And then you eventually become 6'7", but then when you get to college or the pros, you have to change your entire game. These kids, he's talked about 8th grade learning to handle, and he's always known to be 7 foot. His grandfather's 7 foot, his uncle's 7 foot, his dad's 7 foot, his brother's 7 foot. But he's not, like, don't expect him to come out here and be Kevin Durant. But you can see that, like, that play he made the other night where he hits a Olynyk on the pass, that was a very natural play to him. He's used to playing in the modern game. I think we're seeing our first generation of guys who come in having never played with their back to the basket.
Well, you got to go back to AAU. They're not teaching that anymore, right? I mean,
but so how you're in? This is what I'm getting at. Thank you. When did that change? Like 6-7 years ago?
Yeah, I think so. Well, if you're big like a Walker Kessler, you've got to have those kind of skills to be able to handle yourself, because that ball eventually is going to come in. It might not be a particular play run to you, but that ball is going to come in at least to get the three-point shot open, right? You got to play inside out with most teams. But you're right. I think it started at AAU. I think it started with the fascination and the prevalency of the three-point shot, right? Everybody wants to shoot it. If you're a big guy, you got to be able to shoot it now, stretch the floor. But there was a while there we thought that the big was going to be extinct like the dinosaur, and I think part of that game is we don't see a lot of hooks, a lot of jump hooks and rolling hooks anymore. But it's never going away. You need a big guy.
They always say it's positionless basketball, and there's some truth to that, but still size is still going to be a factor.
For sure.
But the evolution, though, is Nowitzki started it with the 7-footer who could step it out and hit the three, the trailer three, which is what he was so famous for. But Kessler, he's obviously a study of what David just said, of a new era of bigs who have to be versatile. They can face the basket, hit mid-range shots. They can step outside, hit a three, also have a presence down low in the paint and baseline.
So I could have hit the three, guys.
I know you could.
I could have hit it. George Sloan.
Right, we know.
Oh, you do know?
Okay.
Oh,
you're going to be like Richard Sherman to be triggered.
Yeah, I didn't want to look up some stats.
You were behind. You were ahead of your time.
I was a small forward. At 6'11".
Well, hey, you want to talk about extinction? I think we're a lot closer to the 6'1" guard being extinct in the 7th. There was not a player drafted in this year's draft that was in the first round that was smaller than 6'4".
Yes. That's it out loud. My bad.
This year's draft, the number one story to me, and no one talked about it, there was not a player smaller than 6'4" drafted in the first round this year.
Sorry, little fellas.
Guess what? We're playing some basketball.
So the gray team is Sexton, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Walker, Kessler, Ilan Horton-Tucker, and Rudy Gay, which has kind of been the second unit. And the black team with the yellow outline, or the yellow lettering, is what has been the starting five so far for the Jazz.
Well, you just saw the steal, too, and you go three from the corner. But it's that defense at NT that I think, again, as Clarkson launches up one, he thought it was in, and it comes out. But it's really what we're going to see, I think, too, is up and down the floor, as we saw more in Portland. And, David, it's about pace. It's about everyone is responsible defensively for their player.
Yeah, and,
great ball.
Coach Hardy talked about his team and coaches having to learn a new language, right? And that's a shift, right, from when Quinn was here and all the things that he taught his players. These players have to get to know exactly what Coach Hardy wants. And I see a lot of motion. I don't see one particular guy kind of being highlighted as much. You're going to get the best shot clock running down. I'm sure it's going to be in Mike Conley's hands or Jordan Clarkson. But you're right about the pace part, pace and spacing.
By the way, Rudy Gay just took that shot. His number is not Ocho last year.
Colin Sexton's just infectious. You want to be around Colin Sexton all the time. He has that energy.
Came off that knee injury last year. He's at full strength. There's another great defensive play. Head up, you look in the passing lane, and the Jazz the great team gets a possession back. 0 for 3 from 3. Where they're scoring is down low baseline paint.
Well, I think that's one of the things. More answer to your question is getting on top of the basket, meaning getting it into the paint.
Out of bounds. Great ball.
As we see an air ball, I felt a little draft come in.
That's a heavy wind.
But Markkanen missed it by a little bit. Yeah, that's what it is.
It's got to adjust to the altitude. Alexander Walker's been one of the standouts of camp so far.
Ooh, beautiful move.
For the gray
right left hand.
Alexander Walker.
You got to feel for him. He's on his 5th coach in 4 years. I don't think anyone has any idea what Alexander Walker is as a player yet. He grew up in Toronto. He moved first to St. Louis and then I think to West Virginia for his high school career. And then he's just been bouncing around, right? And 5 coaches from the trade last year, also the turmoil in New Orleans. It'll be interesting to see if he can find some footing.
And only 15 games played last year with Quinn Snyder. And you know what, T? It's hard to find rhythm or even your identity with limited minutes, limited time on the floor.
Well, I think the reason why he's still able to be in this league is that where do you play him, right? You can play him in multiple places. He could be a big guard. He can handle a ball. He could be a wing guy. I think he can be he's not a bad shooter as well out on the perimeter. Right now he's bringing the ball up court. So I see him in a lot of different positions.
You know what happened to him a little bit? If you recall, he gets drafted, I think, as the 17th pick by New Orleans. And he's really scouted as a shooting guard coming out of Virginia Tech. But he goes to Summer League and he dominated. He was like the story of Summer League as a point guard. And then New Orleans flipped him to a point guard. And I don't think he was ready for that. That was too much for him.
Good point.
And then they flipped him back with the next coach. And then Willie Green kind of gave him a start. But he even admitted to us in the session we had with him that he got, he didn't start well efficiently. And then he got kind of into it and he spiraled down a little bit. So if he can get going a little bit and have a defined role you're talking about, that would certainly help him.
Nicely done. Olynyk.
Down for 2, number 41, Kelly Olynyk.
41. There's something about that, T. He's intriguing. For me, I don't know. I've watched him, what is his 10th year in the league? There's just something I like about his game. And now that things are starting to open up a little bit with Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Well, I think with Kelly Olynyk, it's the fact I believe he's very fundamentally sound, right? He's not fleet of foot.
Just talk about him as a person. Because the way I always characterize people, 2-hour flight delay, I'm stuck at the bar next to him. Kelly Olynyk's the first guy on this team I want to be next to. And his wedding is the greatest story I've ever heard. So, in theory, you're supposed to only get married once. He decided, fine, I'm going to marry one woman, but we're going to do it 3 times because I only do it once. So the first wedding was the small ceremony in Idaho for their families. The second wedding was in Vegas with an Elvis impersonator. Because really, shouldn't we all do that in life? And the third one was the blow it out, I've made a large amount of money, I can throw the biggest party I want in Napa Valley with all of his buddies, including children, this is not advisable, a shot clock, literally. A shot clock. When you got your shots, there was a shot clock on how fast you had to down it. That's all I needed to know about Kelly Olynyk.
That's the trifecta.
That is if you're that's how you got endless funds. Get married 3 times to the same person.
I love that story.
He's the best. Not to mention the sweet part about it, unlike the fact that one of the reasons he grows out his hair every year is because he turns them for locks of love.
I love that story as well. I think it's 9 inches it has to be to donate. There's a nice block down inside. You look at the pace, David and T. There's another steal and an easy 2 on the other end.
Down for 2.
But Markkanen, that's the easiest bucket I've seen. But what you're seeing here is just hands up, hands in the passing lanes. Everyone's responsible defensively. And last year, it's been well said. Channel into Gobert. And right now, one thing you have to do is play your man, play hard, and the pace of this game. What did Conley say, David, the other day? He's never worked as hard. I mean, you saw him in an outright just sweat.
Well, that was the theme this week in all the press conferences. It was that there's certain camps that are done where you're doing drills, you're doing fundamentals, you're doing X and O. Will Hardy's camp has been a competition camp. That he believes he's trying to build a team to collectively come together as a group, but they're going to learn how to do it in competition. So everything is a competition right now. And so they're going really hard in that sense. That was really a kind of a line through all the media sessions this whole week after we got back, was that even in practice, everything's a competition. You lose, you run. I don't think you run a lot, but you run up and down, but nobody likes to run even for just once up and down. And all of it's competition, and all of it is, whether it's a 3-minute drill that we're working on the end of a game, it's a competition, whether it's a 5-minute long stretch, and that's how Will Hardy is coaching this team, is everything is based on competition, and that's how the bonds are going to be formed.
He also said, let's practice sloppy. As a player, what does that mean?
Well, it means not being afraid to make mistakes, right? It means being yourself, being authentic as a player, and following the scheme that's laid out for you. But one of the hardest things for an NBA player or a player in general to do, especially at this level, is to be patient. All these guys out here right now, they want to win, right? But they understand that this is a new process for a lot of them, for all of them. And so it's still basketball, but you've got to be able to be patient, grow with your team. They're going to be great moments. They're going to be possibly stretches of frustration. And you've got to be able to just stay who you are and not be afraid to make those.
I mean, if we're really honest about it, there's too many players out here today. We're going to see we're going to see 19, 20 players. There aren't 19 or 20 roster spots. So
Okay.
there are 4 or 5 guys, depending on how many guys we see now. 2 of them are two-ways, so then you're down to 17. So there's, at minimum, 3 guys that we'll see today who are not going to be on this roster when they open against the Denver Nuggets. And there are not any guys without contracts other than Cody Zeller.
Right.
So
Number 6,
everybody is playing for their basketball lives right now, and Jared Butler, surprisingly, is included in that group. Every expectation is he should be fine, but if you're asking Saban Lee, he doesn't think Jared Butler's fine. He thinks he should make the team. And if you're asking Leandro Balmero, he doesn't think somebody else is fine. He thinks he should make the team.
Stanley Johnson.
He doesn't think Rudy Gay's fine. He thinks he should make the team, right? And Stanley Johnson's been a highlight of this camp so far.
I thought in Portland, man, we saw some extended minutes, T, and it's hard. I was impressed.
Well, I think if you ask Jared Butler, he would say, I'm not fine. I know I have to be able to come out here and prove myself, to not just stick on this team, but to be able to get into that rotation and be able to prove some things as a young player.
We're playing 2 20-minute quarters? Is that right?
To 25.
As many as 4 in the first to 25, so it's tied at 21. So we're closing in on that first.
Oh, we're doing Elam scoring. We should be doing Elam scoring all the time. Actually, if people don't know about they're doing it in the G League this year.
Yeah, but stop it. That's not going to happen. In the league? In the NBA?
Oh, if they do it in the G League, there's a real chance it comes to the NBA.
They're testing it out. Not everything translates in the G League here.
Speaking of that, super interesting. We'll get back to the score. So they do test things out in the G League all the time. I don't know if you guys, this kind of went under the radar, I think, for most people, but they tested out an idea I thought was really interesting was 1 free throw. So 1 free throw for 2 points.
Yeah. He does that.
And you know what they found out? It didn't shorten the game at all. The players took longer to set up and get set, and the substitutions took longer than usual. Guys use the free throws to catch their breath and to get ready, and coaches use the free throws to coach. So when it went down to 1 free throw, the players just took a longer time to get set, and the coaches took a longer time, and the amount of time that was saved in the game was incrementally irrelevant. So that is a great way to use the G League, is to test these things. What they're doing this year with Elam scoring, which is fixed scoring. In other words, you decide the winner of this game the winner of this quarter is at 25. It'd be very exciting right now. It's 23-21. We'd be very fired up. Here it is for the win. Oh, see?
And they do it at the All-Star game too, right?
And it's been great. Yeah. They're doing it in overtime in the G League this year, and then at the G League Showcase, they're doing it on all games. I actually am a big fan of it. We can go to dinner over it. I really would love it.
You're buying.
I'll buy as long as I get the pulpit for a while to preach my case.
What do you mean? You'll have to ever ask for the pulpit.
Oh, no, I have to ask for the pulpit.
He travels with a pulpit.
No, that's just this.
Oh, boy.
If I thought anyone cared, I would do it now. But I'm aware. I'm aware that JB and Travis are like, oh, dear gosh. Please don't go into Elam scoring. Talk about the Jazz players.
I'll tell you, that was a great move by Jared Butler. We were speaking about his need to impress. He said he was going to, Will Hardy said he wanted him to be a bulldog mentality, and Horton Tucker just won the first.
The excitement.
It is exciting.
Actually, that's my point, is if we did Elam scoring, the last play of every game would be super exciting, and fans would leave the arena going, yeah! Like, even if you win by 20, there's a game-winning shot. The problem is too many NBA games are done with like 2 minutes left, and so you just funnel out of the arena. If you have Elam scoring, there's always a chance you could come back, but more importantly, there's always a game-winning shot, which is a massive moment of excitement, and the last reaction by a fan is cheering.
David, preach it.
There we go. Okay.
See, he still found the pulpit.
Preach it, baby.
But that was it. It was right there. Taylor Horton Tucker. 3, woo!
To hear amen.
Here's an interesting one on Taylor Horton Tucker and Stanley Johnson and Balmero and, about 5 of our guys. Shooting. All of them have elite NBA skills in some capacity. And the missing one for Balmero, for Taylor Horton Tucker, for Jared Vanderbilt, for Nickeil Alexander-Walker so far in their careers, for Jared Butler, frankly, is shooting. And it's the #1 skill that most guys can learn in their career. You can't learn length, you can't learn height, you can't learn speed. You can learn shooting. I'm not even sure you can learn handles. That's a discussion we could have. So we got these guys that are on the verge, if they can get that figured out, they're on a verge of a breakout. If Jared Vanderbilt can suddenly learn how to be a 35%, 33% three-point shooter, oh my gosh.
The Bear,
if Taylor Tucker with a 7-1 reach can suddenly be a viable shooter, oh my gosh. So it's a super interesting stage to watch these guys in their
And
careers.
you can learn handles, by the way.
Okay.
I think so. And a lot of that is just basically in the off season, not just with somebody who's coaching you, but also in real time playing games and stuff. I think it's confidence, but you're right. I mean, guys need to be able to shoot consistently in this league, and those guys that you mentioned, obviously, I think they're going to get better at it as much as they need to for this system.
You know, David's comment always intrigues me because scoring is what this league is about. We embrace the three, the power game tee. What's amazing, though, is that you say you can learn how to shoot, but in AAU, I thought really that's what it's all about. You become more of a selfish player. That's the dig on AAU, is that it's all about defense, and you forget to play the defensive side of the ball. So offensively, I would think many of these players should be better offensively if they go through the AAU ranks, which most of these guys do.
Yeah, but a lot of those AAU guys can't shoot a lick, I'm telling you. I mean, I've watched. There's a few of them that can knock it down, that knock down an open three, but a lot of those guys love to handle the ball and get to the basket. But you're right. I mean, a lot of times they learn that shooting a little bit later on. But scoring overall, that there's some great scoring AAU players across this country that can't shoot.
If you're 6'6" and can beat a guy off the dribble and get to the basket, you learn how to shoot later until you don't learn how to shoot until the first guy slides over and blocks you, and that doesn't happen until you're here.
Do you think this team will be more mid-range jump shooters?
No.
Locke, you don't think so?
No. The math didn't change when we changed coaches. I mean, it wasn't like Quinn was wrong.
You didn't let him get all that question
no,
out.
I mean, the math is still really obvious. Like the math isn't different. They didn't change any. And actually, the thing that I think that people have missed on the three-point revolution that's taking place is it actually has opened up the mid-range. By having 3 or 4 shooters on the outside and 1 roller, you've actually opened up the middle of the court. So the Devin Bookers and the Chris Pauls of the world now can work inside that area with much more room than Jeff Hornacek or John Stockton ever had. There's so much more space. What has changed in the league is that bad shooters no longer take mid-range shots. You have to be an elite level shooter who can make it at over 50% of the time to make it a viable shot. I don't know on this roster how many guys we have that are really good mid-range shooters. You probably have Mike Conley's probably all right taking that shot.
Rudy
Maybe
Gay.
Colin Sexton.
Oh, David, that's I think its only shot. You go quiet?
I just don't think Rudy's very efficient with that shot.
Yeah, that was an awkward quietness.
It was.
I mean, the numbers are not great on Rudy Gay's mid-range shooting.
Jared Butler.
I mean, we got enamored by him by knocking down, 7 threes in that second or third game of last year. And then, of course, his playing time went back and forth, then to nothing.
Right.
But, I mean,
I think your point is if he's going to be viable, that's where he's going to be viable.
That's where he's going to be viable.
I'll buy that.
Yes. That's where I think his only
Rebound bucket is
if he's going to play for the Jazz,
foul.
it has to be in that spot.
Yeah, I mean,
Cody Zeller picking up
but
the
he's got to be really. But let's be clear, like the math is, if you're going to take that shot, the league average on a point per possession is 1.1 points. I mean, this is getting geeky, but 1.1 points per possession. So that's a 50. You have to be shooting around 50% on the mid-range shot.
Yeah.
There are 5 guys in the league who did that last year.
I was going to say there are only a few guys who are really good at it.
So if it's a late shot clock, we're down to like 5 or 6 on the shot clock. Now your possession efficiency is way down. Then you can go take that shot, but not with 18 on the clock, not with 14 on the clock, not with 10 on the clock. Those are bad shots.
I would venture to say there are a lot of guys that aren't even comfortable with that, and even with that 5-6 seconds, they're going to try to get to the basket. Or they're going to kick it out for an open three after drawing attention.
Like it's going.
Colin Sexton, nice dish. There's handles.
Yeah, well, I was impressed with the Walker Kessler catch down by his waist. I've seen some big guys who struggle catching it below their belt.
Yeah, I think what Walker and I heard Coach. I'm not even gonna respond to it. But what I saw Walker Kessler in
It's an
the
offensive
game
foul.
against the
Number 24,
Trailblazers.
Walker Kessler.
He brought after he got a rebound, he brought it down below his waist and got it stolen a couple of times. I saw Coach Hardy pull him aside and talk to him a little bit.
Feels as though Coach Hardy has been coaching Walker Kessler a little more than anyone else out there. And like you always think it's really telling.
He's coaching himself.
He thinks he's particularly good looking. I think it's always telling when that happens because it tells you that the coach has seen something and realizes that he could be important to the season.
Little slice inside, Fontecchio.
He's going to be super interesting because he had such a great offseason for the Italian national team. But then on the other end of his career, and that's when his career took off. And so this is the first time he's jumped back up to that elite level competition. And it's going to be interesting to see how much he really did grow. You know, he's been kind of on the outskirts. He's a pro at 17. 2015, I think it was, he goes into Boston's camp as a potential draftee and he pulls out. That's where Ains first saw him. But then he was Italian's leading scorer both at the Olympics in 2020 and also in Eurobasket this year. So great steps for Fontecchio in his career.
It's amazing to me that, well, it really isn't the way Danny works this league as a general manager at one time for Boston, and of course brought Fontecchio in, and how you don't forget players, and all of a sudden in another time in another place he resurfaces with a chance to find a home.
I asked all these players in our content day if we took you back to your childhood room, what would we see? Cliche question, but I actually think you learn a lot. I thought Fontecchio's answer was super interesting. I don't know if you guys remember. You would see a poster of my dad from the Olympics where he was an Olympic hurdler from, so we could have Mike Conley's dad triple jump and Fontecchio's dad hurdle as a halftime show competition this year.
We need a shot putter.
Here's Abaji. Fans are excited about him. You're going to tell me that should have been a mid-range shot, huh?
You guys.
You know what? You drive inside a little bit more, but, you know, I'm old school. I know, I understand the math, David. We've had this talk on plane rides multiple nights.
Ball's out of bounds, great.
But it's a tough shot not to take. You see a lot of players, though, you kick it back out. Jazz were unselfish under Quinn Snyder. They rotated the ball. It was constant rotation. 5 or 6 touches before the 3 ball.
I've seen a couple of guys, Nickeil Alexander-Walker and one other player, they had a mid-range shot, but they kicked it out for a 3.
Right.
I think you're going to see a lot more of that.
Like that. The only we talking about signature of play. We just saw it a minute ago with Horton Tucker coming off the pick here. Johnny Juzang is a mid-range, like he was elite mid-range player at UCLA. The one thing here it is again, Horton Tucker, multiple ball handlers, and we're really using that what I would call 3 position, Markkanen, Horton Tucker, Nickeil Alexander-Walker as a ball handler, which is interesting to me because it leads our best catch and shoot guys are Sexton, Conley, Beasley. If you can get your 3 to be a ball handler, it means your 1 and your 2 are out there for shots. Nice.
Fontecchio, 2.
The drama building to our 25-point Elam scoring. Or fixed score. I think that's what we're calling it now, fixed score scoring.
Well, both of these quarters or sessions, however you want to define it, they've been very competitive.
Out of bounds, great.
I think Will Hardy did a nice job splitting this team up on an even, very even as Olynyk comes back in and Zeller checks out.
It's super interesting you say that, Craig, because he actually split it up starters and bench, or starters and non-starters, which I think tells you all you need to know about this roster, right? I think that's a great point, that even with starters and non-starters, this roster 1 through 18 does not have a huge difference.
That's a good point.
Or 1 through 19, I guess we have right now. Or 20? I don't know. How many guys do we have? 20 guys.
Right now, the 1-2 way is Juzang, and Doak still out rehabbing that ankle.
Thank you. That's why I was at 19 in my head. Appreciate it. I need you around on my mic more often.
You have to ask Thurl.
I certainly hope, speaking of Doak, I certainly hope that he could
Ubaji.
He can get healed up and get back out on the court.
You guys remember Amp Lee?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great pass.
Florida State running back? That's Saban Lee's dad. Saban Lee's number 38.
He just threw a nice pass there.
During the season to try to see who's coming in the league. And I don't remember who it was on Vanderbilt. It might have been Garland, but I don't think that timing lines up. But I was watching somebody else in a game, and then this other player kept bouncing off the screen to me. It's always like Rodney Hood did that the day when I was watching Jabari Parker. I finished watching Jabari Parker and Rodney Hood, and I was like, I like Rodney Hood better than Jabari Parker as an NBA player. Nice.
Down for
THT.
Well, he might be the best athlete.
Horton
Taylor Tucker
Tucker
might be the best athlete on the team.
It's amazing when you look at him. You think he's been in this league. Well, he has, 4 years? But still just 21.
Yeah. Youngest player in the league for 2 years in a row. I think it was something crazy.
And some freakishly
Number 24.
long.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he is,
Kessler.
yes. And in fact, if you go back and read all the stories in LA, LeBron talking about just what an insane athlete is. 7'1" standing wingspan, I think, on a 6'4" body. And then, Chicago kid played at Simeon, which is a legendary high school basketball player. There's your mid-range shot.
There
Bowler.
it is. There it is.
Buckets in. Number 22, Rudy Gay.
Gosh, who is that? Rudy Gay, huh?
And I was looking at Rudy Gay's career. He's only been on a winning team
Nikhil
4
Alexander
times
Walker
in his
checking in for
entire
Green
career
Team.
in
And
16
number 2
years.
Colin
Last
Sexton
year was the
back
4th
in for the
time
Black
he
Sox.
ever played in a playoff series in his entire career.
Wow.
7 years in Memphis, 2 in Toronto, 4 in Sacramento, 4 in San Antonio, 1 in Utah.
But he didn't play.
And then he didn't play.
Nice pass.
Oh!
Beautiful up and
Buckets
under.
in. Nikhil Alexander
I'd say
Walker.
he's impressed in these first 2 sessions or quarters.
I mean, 6'6", 205. Like, there's a million. Like, that's the perfect number. I mean, 6'9", 225 is probably better, but you understand what I'm saying, right?
Well,
Like,
every GM's looking for that. The 6'6", as you said, the 6'1" player may be obsolete soon.
right, if you're 6'1" or 6'2", you better be really, really, really special.
I like
You better have something that makes you pop. If you're 6'6", like, we can do a lot of things with that. Here's Palmero. He's crafty with the ball.
I'm really impressed with Saban Lee at that bringing that ball down the floor. He's throwing some nice passes, kind of looking up early, found Nikhil Alexander Walker early.
It's a 3.
Saban,
Number 23.
Saban Lee was
Lori
out of
Markkinen.
Vanderbilt late, mid-first, second-round draft pick, actually, I think 39th pick of a draft. The word on him is that he's an elite-level defender. Now, maybe that's one of those things where just because of he's another one who's got super long reach, that he's a guy who can really, play defense on the ball, make some impact in that realm, which is something Will Hardy's talked an awful lot about. Here he is.
Oh.
Bucket is in.
Well, you notice the pace,
Number
Thurl.
38,
You notice the
Saban
pace.
Lee.
Yeah, and Coach Hardy,
Horton Tucker with the assist.
he said the other day, I wanted these guys to get in shape too because we're going to be getting up and down. We want to keep that pace of the game, and I thought we saw some great pace against that against the Trailblazers.
I think we were
Buckets
trying
scored. Number
to
24 is
keep
Walker Kessler.
we're trying to keep track of
From Sexton.
the possessions, David. Most of the possessions that we kept track were about 4 seconds into their offense across the timeline.
Oh, that's really interesting. Oh, that's great.
Ball goes
You
out of
guys did that on
bounds to
TV?
the
Yeah,
right team.
yeah. I
That's-
mean,
that's
we're
super.
making note of just already
Ochabaji checking back
going
in,
into
wearing
it
number 30.
4 seconds from the time it was
Oh, that's-
inbounded in.
Oh, we did not. Oh, that's great. Those are super job, whoever did that. Or you guys did it. But that's,
That's geeky stuff, bro.
I love that.
I know you do.
There's an interesting kind of time of possession thing you can look at in this league on what your time of possession is after a made shot, missed shot, and turnovers. It tells a lot, actually, about how teams play. What do we got here?
Numbers.
Oh!
Saban
Number
Lee!
38, Saban Lee.
Well, I'm going to go downstairs, and we're going to say goodbye to this great crowd. Appreciate you
Bowler,
guys.
don't leave me.
Oh,
Don't
man,
leave me,
T.
Bowler.
Hey, I'll see
Wait,
you guys.
I got way better in the last hour having Bowler around. You're not allowed to leave.
Hey, I'll see you guys Tuesday night, man.
All right, baby.
San
Back in by
Antonio,
Kessler and a foul.
a guy named Popovich will be here, and of course, off the branch, the coaching tree branch, is Will Hardy. So it'll be interesting to see those two guys reunite.
That will be the storyline.
Sure is.
See you, Bowler.
Number 6, Alexander Walker.
Who do you think fans are going to be talking about today? What's the Twitterverse going to say after this today, people? Hit me at
second team
DLock09 on
foul.
Twitter right now if you're listening on our stream, and let me know I'd be curious what your observations are. We'll share some of those as we wrap this up. At DLock09, hit me your thoughts if you're watching the scrimmage right now. Let's see what you guys have to say.
A lot of handoffs, a lot of rescreens.
Three.
Ball game. Horton Tucker with his second game winner of the night.
No.
The game concludes.
Horton Tucker, fifth
Wayside
score,
25,
fifth score
Lakeside
dynamo
19.
with back-to-back threes to win it.
You know, I really liked him. Even when he was with the Lakers, I just liked what he brought. He brought a toughness to them, and I think the Jazz are going to need a lot of that.
Let's be honest, he had a bad year last year.
Yeah,
he was also on maybe the single most dysfunctional team in all of the NBA.
Exactly.
So super hard to understand whether or not, the guy that dropped 40 in April against the Warriors is who he is.
I'm not just talking about numbers either.
Right.
I mean, I like to watch a player, like his approach to the game, his mannerisms, what happens, during the course of the game. But I really like that toughness he brings.
Well, his mom was an elementary school teacher, which makes her like one of the,
That's why he's tough.
like angels of the world, right? So, actually, really interesting family. The street in which he grew up on in Chicago's North Side is now named after his grandmother because she was such a stalwart in the community and so important to just kind of community services and everything else that when she passed, they named the street after in the North Side. The other thing that's interesting if you know Chicago, and a little bit about Taylor Horton Tucker, is he grew up on the north side of town and played hoops on the south side of town and went to high school on the south side of town. Most people are told, don't go to the south side of Chicago.
That's where you grow up, baby.
But if you want to play some hoops,
that's where you grow up.
Part of his storyline, if you talk to people from Chicago, is, hey, he was a north side kid that was willing to venture into the south side and play. He went to Simeon, which is where Derrick Rose went, Jabari Parker went, Bobby Simmons went. So, really an interesting kid, but you're right. And he's 6'4", 234.
He couldn't make enough of us.
Oh, Will Hardy giving the fans extra? No 1 hour scrimmage today. We're going. I love it. Will Hardy he's already here, my man. But wait, I got my teamwork thing. He just ran down the stairs and up. I mean, we know that you're a physical marvel, Bullard.
Hey, give him a chance to catch his breath.
No.
You good?
I'm good. No, I walked down and they said, why don't you turn back up? Will wants to go two more quarters. I said, I like this guy.
The young guys need the work. I like it.
All right. Let me tweet out to our fans and let them know.
So they were going to wrap up at noon. They basically, first tip was about 11:10 after some warm-ups and stretch. So Will said, let's play on.
All right, all the more reason, if you're watching, tweet me at DLock09 and let me know what your impressions are and who stood out to you so far. Hey, Bullard, did you notice that Taylor Horton Tucker hit the second straight game-winning shot on fixed scoring there?
Yes, yeah. I did know. I knew you were going to bring that up.
They're both threes, too.
Guys, we haven't mentioned Stanley Johnson very much, but I was really impressed with him defensively.
You liked him. You liked him against the Blazers.
Yeah, I did. I just liked he had a kind of bullishness to him, and he was anticipating plays. And I remember the games he had against the Jazz last year, so I think he's going to be a key component to what the Jazz are doing this year, especially defensively.
What I liked about it, Thurl, was that he was a DMP up in Edmonton against Toronto, and then he gets his opportunity. No head down. I mean, he took it and said, "Let's roll." And I just thought his physicality was very impressive, and something the Jazz, I think from last year you can talk all you want, but this is a totally different look. New coaching staff, different philosophy, different players, but it's about the hustle, right? Will's made it very clear. Play for me, play defense, work your tail off, pace of the game. And I thought he fit all three of those categories to a T.
Oh, no question about it. And I think the overall theme in those interviews from really everybody was there's something to prove with this team. Nobody across the league probably expects much out of them. So,
is what can you expect from this team? Look, let's go back to that Monday of nearly 2 weeks ago
Falls up
And
and
the
in,
conversation,
number 30.
David and T, what was the commonality? It was about we're going to play hard. We're going to be the surprise team in this league. No one even knows about us. But then again, it's about a rebuild or a retooling, however you want to define it, right?
Buckets in,
and you have
0.
pocketfuls of #1 draft picks that you can use to improve your draft status, your standing. So it's really interesting to see how far they want to go with this in the sense of wins. Because there's no guarantee the way the lottery is set up, even if you are the top 5 worst teams in the NBA record-wise, there's still no guarantee you grab a 1 spot unless you try to trade up with picks that the Jazz have.
Yeah, and no one's trading that #1 pick, by the way.
No.
I'm not entirely sure if Milwaukee called with Giannis that pick would get traded right now.
That's a good point, and I agree.
By the way, thank goodness they flattened the lottery odds.
For 3.
Because if they hadn't flattened the lottery odds after this week, somebody would go 5-77.
Yeah,
Because
for
that
sure.
was the only guy I've ever seen like that was out of Akron, Ohio. And LeBron was a better prospect. I don't care what anyone says, because he was 6'8", 230. There was no question about his body, and you knew LeBron when he was coming out of high school would
be ready.
Could give you 20 years in the NBA.
Yeah.
The only question on Wembanyama is just whether that body, which we've never seen before, can hold. But I'm not kidding. The dude is Rudy Gobert's defense, Giannis Antetokounmpo's length, Kevin Durant's shooting, and Paul George's handles, and he's 18 years old. Like, it's incredible.
I have never seen anyone with that kind of talent, with what he has in this game. Just amazing to watch a guy be able to do what he can do with that size.
Megan on YouTube says Kessler's going to be Rookie of the Year. If the Jazz played like they did against Portland, we're going to win a lot of games.
Buckets in, #6, Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Tim says the fact that so many people... OCD wants to know who starts at center for the Utah Jazz this year on YouTube.
I think, personally, for me, I think it's Olynyk. Then a Kessler who's going to come in and play.
So it's interesting. This gets into how we're defining positions.
Yeah.
Because my answer is Vanderbilt, because I think Olynyk's playing the 4.
That was going to be my answer.
Well, Markkanen what? He played.
So Markkanen's the 3, Olynyk's the 4, and Vanderbilt's the 5. But I think you're right. The only reason I say that is because if you watch the substitutions that we've seen so far in camp, Kessler has come in for Vanderbilt, and Gay has come in for Olynyk, and Alexander Walker has come in for Markkanen. But I think to the other point that's most interesting, where you were heading, Craig, a little bit, 3-4-5 is somewhat interchangeable on a team that's switching defensively.
No, it's a great point. I think that's the variety that coach has.
It's hard to even use those numbered positions anymore, right? And really, one of the only reasons we do it is defensively, right? Who's guarding the other guy on the other team that is going to be in the post more or less? But we. In the preseason games, we started 3 7-footers.
Which I love.
Right? Yeah, I do too.
So as we opened the broadcast talking about the thing that's close to extinction is the 6'1" guard, not the 7. Lauri Markkanen is what he did in Cleveland last year is really an important thing for the future of this league. He's 7 feet, 240 pounds, and he played small forward for the entire year, and it worked. And Will Hardy was like, "Oh, we'll just do this. We're going to do it also." Like, that's where we're going.
Well, the options, though, are telling because, as you said, Markkanen can play at 1. He played 3 last year. He can play 4. And like you said, why not slide him to 5 in situations, right? You could have one of the biggest front lines in the NBA with handles, by the way.
And we're seeing the Jazz play Markkanen, Talen Horton-Tucker, Nickeil Alexander-Walker with the ball in that position. Like, actually, I think on this set, Markkanen will come get the ball off an Olynyk handoff. Supposed to. Big T, I don't get anything for that? I don't get anything for that? I called the play?
You called it, but it didn't happen.
Right.
No.
Come on, I want a little.
We talked about what we're going to see. We're going to see a lot of handoffs.
I get no love for that from you.
Balls out of bounds.
Come on, man.
I just heard the truck make a great line. I don't know if I should say it or not. Way to go, Tony Romo, calling it before it happens.
Olynyk is in for 2.
I'm really impressed. I didn't want to blow your head up.
Yeah, that's a good idea not to. Will Hardy's not going to be happy.
No,
right now.
that was
The defense has left the building.
That
here
was
for a minute.
Olay.
Yeah, that is not going to get anyone.
That was a playoff right there. 3 off the wing. So, David, let's talk.
This is actually, sorry, this is what Will Hardy, why we're still playing.
Right.
Because these guys just got tired and they stopped playing. And this is his point in the press conference before the Portland
Kessler,
game was we were good in Toronto, but we have to learn how to play 48 minutes. We were good for a while, and then we let go.
Yeah.
For us to play as a group and follow the process, we have to learn when we're off, when we're tired. This is intentional teaching right now by Will Hardy.
Lessons learned, right? And they have to be learned early. That's how habits are developed. And so, yeah, it's a nice shot.
That's a 3.
Yeah, and it's improving cardio.
One of the questions on YouTube was guard. Who will start at guard?
That's where I wanted to go next. I mean, look, last year, 6-1-6.
Portland, and I really, really liked it. I was uber impressed by Jordan Clarkson's ability to be a chameleon and change the way he's playing. The other side, though, is I might like Colin Sexton with Malik Beasley more than I like Colin Sexton with Jordan Clarkson or Colin Sexton. What Colin Sexton's elite skill is that he can beat just about anybody into the paint. So I want a dead-eye spot-up shooter with him.
I think that's what Coach Hardy's trying to figure out as well.
Number
right?
30, Ochai Agbaji.
And even if a Sexton doesn't start, you know, how's that rotation going to happen where you can make those kind of tandems happen in a game?
The lineup we threw out the first night, Sexton, Clarkson, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, little allergic to passing. All 3 of them. Hard to have those 3 on the floor at the same time and have the ball still popping. So I think you might try to move away from that a little bit, and so you move Clarkson into that's where you can move Clarkson to with Conley. Then if you have Alexander Walker and Sexton playing with Beasley, you've got Beasley's one of the elite. Woo!
Up and in.
Balmero.
10, Leandro
Balmero. No, does it not? Could you see, though, Conley being subbed out still with Beasley working with Colin Sexton?
Montecchio.
Yeah.
You could start Beasley and have Sexton be an early sub and they play together.
Be the first sub out.
But then you end up with Sexton and Clarkson together for an extended time, and I'm not sure they complement each other as well as you might want them to. I don't know.
Well, they can learn. That's a learn.
Right.
Obviously, it's early. These guys are going to have to really figure out how to make it work. Because there may be some situations where it has to be that combination.
Ball's out of bounds, black side.
Fontecchio. That high release, wide base, he's going to be able to get that off. He'll get that off. He's number 10 out there on the floor. And he played a 7-game stretch where he got a lot of time. He struggled miserably. He shot 22%. He did not make a 3 in that 7 games for Minnesota. And then, honestly, he just kind of shut it. Like, he got overwhelmed. Like, it's totally natural. He played 5 games then and didn't take a shot in any of the next 5 games. Like, that's the sign that a rookie's, like, overwhelmed. And so now that he's had an offseason, he was drafted in 2020, but he didn't debut till 2021. Like, he's done some interesting things. He was in Europe by 17. He played for FC Barcelona, played 15 minutes a night. And we'll see if he can figure out, like, how to play in the NBA, because he's got a ton of skills. He's long at 6'6".
Yeah.
He's great handle, great passer. He's a poor rim finisher and poor shooter right now. Can he get good enough in those things, or does he figure out how to work around them?
I just saw something interesting on this end of the court with Lauri Markkanen, and they were trying to get him the ball in the post. And it just reminded me at his position, right? He's playing a small forward position at that time, but I think you look for some plays where they really try to take advantage of that.
He was pretty efficient out of the post for Cleveland last year, who had almost no floor spacing, so should be. That was good defense by Balmero. That's where 6'6" matters right there. Here he comes.
Nice pass.
He did something interesting there. If I saw it, we couldn't quite see it.
Balmero?
He had the ball in his right hand. He faked a bounce pass in, which brought the
Fucking
defender to the
hell.
basket, and then created the open look right. Like those things that, you got to do some other stuff too, but that's exciting. Those are the things that make you wonder.
It is, and I'm glad you caught that too, because what he was trying to do was not, one thing he didn't do was give it up too early. He wanted to give the potential shooter a rhythm shot, so he took it one more dribble to draw the defense and kicked it to him.
To that last bucket, Jared Butler to Marketing. Hardy's going to love that on that last possession of the black team.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh, we're on the urge of a victory because we're playing at 25.
25.
Horton Tucker.
You're excited, aren't you?
Horton Tucker
going
tries to
crazy.
get his third game winner.
There's the screen. Zeller wide open. Pulled the string.
Come on, Horton Tucker.
Gave it away. And we play on.
See, the excitement is palatable. Oh, Balmero.
Going to win it. Little stagger, little Euro step, back inside.
Think about if they lose this game, we'll remember that fast break. Think of the post-game analysis you can have on wasted possessions. I mean, all they need is a stop, a bucket, and a three, and
There
we're
it
tied.
is.
Oh, there's the game
Leandro
winner.
Bolmaro.
There it is. 3 in the books.
That's an important
Okay.
play by Balmero right there, because he shot 47% at the rim last year, which is, one of the bottom numbers in the league. Like, if he can, I've seen him fiddling all camp and in practices, trying to go reverse side and he's making it almost too complicated. At 6'6" and with some length, just finish it.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was an important play for him right there.
A lot of players are using that off foot to get that shot off early before the potential shot blocker can get a hand on it.
I got a text here, David. I wanted to get your and T's thoughts about this, or tweet, I should say, not a text, from Clinto Pete.
Our guy, is he doing all right?
Well, Clinto says this is a great roster, but only a 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th options. So let's talk who's 1 and 2.
Let's address the point. Like, yeah, there's not in every ranking. Let's just be honest. You put out everyone's put out their top 100 players in the NBA this year. ESPN did it. CBS Sportsline did it. Sports Illustrated did it. Like, every publication did their top. Ringer did it. There's not a Jazz player. That's the challenge that this team has, is how do you win basketball games in a league that is dominated, frankly, not by top 100 players, but by top 15 players. And we don't have a player that at this stage, I think Mike Conley's been unfairly ranked, frankly, and we'll see whether Lowry Markkanen or Colin Sexton can move themselves in it after a year, but who don't have a top 100 player in the league. That's and it's a little bit also a really astute point you made earlier, Bowler, that these games have been starters versus bench, but they've been close. Right? So 1 through 17, the standard deviation of player, just had to go there, is not that wide for us right there.
Well, I would think, but I would think that the answer could be, and I think I've heard this from Will Hardy and others in the Jazz organization, is that this builds the opportunity to build team. So the question is, without that 1 or 2 dominant option, David, there's no top 15 player, top 100 player, but can you find a way, what we're watching in the scrimmage? Look, we're playing against each other. Obviously, teams have those top 15 scattered throughout the league, but can this team actually win as a team? Is there enough Marketens and Beasleys, Conleys, and Clarksons to hit it, to knock home a game winner in critical situations? If they play, my point is, can you play tough enough to give yourself a chance to win a ball game late?
Amazing you just said that. My first thought about that was going to be talking about a guy I played for in college named Jim Valvano. And he said, guys, look, we're not going to win every game, but if we give ourselves an opportunity, a chance to win. And so when you talk about a team that doesn't have, 1-2 punch, a couple of guys that they can rely on every single night, then how are you going to stay in games?
Well, the beauty of your team in '83, was it not the team?
It was, yeah. But you still had to play. You had to be in games against great teams, and it started on the defensive end.
Okay.
Right? It started on the defensive end, and maybe not allowing one of those guys on the other team who, might be averaging 20, 15 or whatever, not have him having a great game and creating some opportunities for your team. Now, the scheme of things for the Jazz, this Jazz team will not be successful if you don't have 4, 5, maybe sometimes 6 guys who are double figures or close. Right?
Agreed.
Right, and so I think
that's what we saw in Portland.
That's right. So I think with Coach Hardy's scheme, it's not about highlighting trying to get one guy or 2 guys to get off every night, but there might be some opportunities for a guy like Jordan Clarkson to say, hey, give Jordan the ball. He's hot. Let him go out and try to create something. Or let's let Lauri Markkanen and the post-up's working. So there may be certain nights where you can highlight guys, but you got to have a well-balanced team to be able to bring some other elements that could give you chances to win.
So, David, the job for Danny Ainge with the 2 pocketfuls of draft picks, number 1s,
wheelbarrow,
is to find those 1 and 2 options in the next year to 2 that can develop and mix in with the guys that continue to be on this roster, or how they want to intermix it. Yeah,
I think what's interesting. So 2 things I would say on this. One is positive and one's honest. Will Hardy talked about very early in camp winning the first 5 minutes of every game. It's vitally important actually for us to start games well this year. Because if you don't have those guys and you fall behind, it gets really, really hard to work your way back into a game. So I actually think like watching the first 5, 6, 7 minutes, do we come out with just an amazing amount of juice on a nightly basis? And can we get ahead, and then you're playing ahead, and then you're forcing the other team to use a lot of energy to stay in the game, and maybe they're playing their 3rd game in 5 nights, and you just start to get some schedule wins that way, and then you do what Thurl said. The other one I would say, if honestly, and we're just going to have to digest this when it happens, is on the nights where you're a little off, and you don't have that guy. You don't have Barry Bonds, Kirby Puckett, who says to you in the, hey, get on my back, I'm carrying you tonight. You don't have that guy who, when your group is off, suddenly does 4 possessions of magic that suddenly gives the group energy. You get some nights where you get run. And that's the real problem with not having one of those top 15, 20 guys, is on the night where the group doesn't have the juice and the guy comes out and makes 4 or 5 plays in a row and puts you on a single-handed 8-2 run, and next thing you know, your 10-point deficit's down to 4 and you get energy because you're like, oh, now we're back in it. If you don't have Colin Sexton's the one guy we have who can do that. He's done that in his career. If we don't have that when you're down 10, it's really hard to stay in games, and 10 becomes 14, and 14 becomes 18, and 18 becomes 24 super fast. And we're going to have some of those nights this year. And that's the actual impact of not having a top 20 player in the NBA on your roster.
Well, we're going to have some great nights, too, where, these guys just come out and show that they can ball.
Right.
Right? You know what I mean? And teams are going to nice
interchangeable parts, versatility in the roster allow you to do a lot of different things on given nights to cause teams problems.
Well, we've seen versatility this afternoon, or this morning, 2 afternoon. We've seen some versatility inside out. There's options, David, you said multiple lineups you can go to. Right. The backcourt is intriguing for me because you go small one night if you need to, or go big. I think Will Hardy has a lot of options that Ainge has given him to use, and we could have one of the largest lineup, the front lines in the league.
And I think 14 out of the first 22 are on the road.
Yes.
Yeah, our opening schedule is.
I think it's a good time, though. I think it's a good time to catch teams. There are going to be a lot of teams not quite prepared yet, not quite in shape. Not quite shooting well. I think it's a good opportunity for this Jazz team to pick up some wins, not just at home, but go on the road and shock some people.
Well, that gets back to Will Hardy's kind of point of this week. The thread line of all the comments this week is that we're going to bond this team through competition. So you go into one of these places and go get a win together. You now are bonding through competition. That was a nice play by Jared right there.
It was.
He's had a couple of moments. Olynyk, Talon Horton-Tucker. He's got those two threes to win. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I think, has been outstanding.
This is the 1 through 16, 17, 18 thing we're talking about. Right? These guys, well, how many first-round draft picks do we have on this roster? Right? So these guys can all play.
Absolutely.
And we talked about this earlier, a lot of them are looking to add one skill or another skill. And I think the interesting balance throughout the year will be, how do you push somebody to add that skill while not pushing them too far. Nice play. I like Balmero.
And you know what? I think some of these guys have the skill, right? It's a matter of now being able to use it more often. I mean, there are guys who, haven't been able to be in a situation where they've handled the ball a lot, or they've taken, shots in different areas. But this may give them an opportunity to do a little more often.
Just like that.
Fontecchio.
Yeah,
Give and go,
Fontecchio
baby.
just kept on rolling.
But that's the versatility, right? That's the versatility and the multiple options offensively.
Oh,
Up and in number 3, Stanley Johnson.
Keep an eye on him.
I think he's one of the most intriguing potential players on this roster. I really do. Again, David, you go
Stanley?
back. Yeah, I just think there's a lot of guys who were like almost waiting their turn, right? And they were first-round draft picks.
Well, Stanley's career arc is really interesting. He's out of Southern California, where he was the number 3 prospect in all of high school basketball. He was the exact same size he is right now at 16 years old. So he was bigger and stronger and more dominant than everyone. He goes to Arizona for a year, and he's pretty dominant physically. And then he gets to the NBA, and as Ron Boone always says, the back of everyone's basketball card is pretty impressive. And all of a sudden, a lot of the stuff that he didn't work anymore. And I think he really struggled with, well, wait a sec. I used to bully people. I used to overwhelm them. And he is now what I thought. Oh, nice, Abaji.
Great recovery.
And what I really liked about what he said to us in the media session was, I'm now working on trying to accentuate the things I'm good at. Stanley led that break right there. And there is a process as an NBA player where, frankly, the other guys are world-class also. These are the 450 greatest in the world. So there are things you actually just are not going to be able to do against them.
Well, it starts above the shoulders, right? I mean, I think physically is one thing, right? He's got the body, he's got the ability to be able to do things with that body, but now it's making that adjustment mentally. What can I do that's a step above what I did in college? And it happens to every first-year player. It happened to me. I mean, I came in.
I think it happened to Jared Butler.
Oh, yeah. Well, I came in the league 6'11" and 190, 195 or something like that. And, I had to figure out how to adjust. I was going out and guarding
2%? 2% body fat?
2%, 1% at times. I was lucky enough to get it up to 2.
I remember, David, when I first met T, I interviewed him, and I just couldn't. I mean, you could see every strand of muscle in.
You still can.
Well,
check this out.
Look at the gunner. Yeah, I still got the gun. But T, you had how many calories? 10,000 calories a day?
I had to put down 10 a day.
Amazing.
To maintain.
Amazing.
High release.
Perfect swish.
Fontecchio.
We got a blowout in our first time here.
First time.
We're almost 25 is right around the corner.
You know what? Now they say they're going to, after this game, they're going to close it down. So I'm going to take a walk again, and if not, I'll see you back here in a minute.
At least you got your exercise in
today,
I did.
Bowler.
Nice job.
Hopefully you're wearing your Fitbit. Got your steps in.
Hey, again, we'll see you Tuesday night.
Right,
San Antonio and the Jazz.
See you, buddy.
It's an offensive foul.
Balmero's kind of playing the point here. Nice.
Got him. Oh, my. Saban Lee.
Saban Lee down for 2.
Goodness gracious.
Wow.
He's 6'1" with a long reach.
I walked back up the stairs for that.
Wow. Balmero, one of the signatures we've kind of seen is that the lead, and I'm saying this with parentheses, the lead guard does not handle as much on this team as you would think. That to me would be a signature I've seen with Will Hardy's. That you're seeing a lot of, if you think of Sexton or Conley as the one you think would have the ball, it doesn't feel as though their time of possession is very high the way we're playing our roster, which I actually kind of love because, one, both of them are 40% catch and shoot three-point shooters, and two, it allows both of them to maybe play off an advantage to make their break to the basket. I'm just not sure you can just play high pick and roll down the basket in the lane anymore with the amount of switching that's going on in this league.
And if you want if you want to keep that pace of the game that Coach Hardy's talking about, you don't waste any time. You know, if a big gets it off the rim, maybe in the Olynyk or Markkanen, they're pushing it down.
Cody Zeller, 29 years old is all, by the way, for those who are calling him Old Man Zeller. So this is an interesting play right here. We don't have replay, but there's a new rule this year which stops what was the Euro foul, the take foul. But it's only if you're not making a play on the ball.
Right.
So in that circumstance right there, there was a very well done play on the ball, which is then just a foul, and then if they weren't in the penalty, they would have been taking it off to the side. So you're not going to get entirely rid of the take foul. What you're going to get rid of is the lazy defender in the middle of the floor just grabs some guys running by. And if you do anything off ball, it's classified as a take foul too. So,
which is a good change, though.
Yes.
It really is.
No, have to. It was a terror. Like, we're taking away the most exciting play in all of the NBA, the fast break. We are in an entertainment business.
Players are always trying to find a way to beat the system.
That's what Quinn used to just always say. Watch the players; they'll teach you everything you need to know. A lot of coaches have said that. It's just so true. You just have to always remember you're watching 450 greatest in the world at what they do, and they're basically
creative.
Yeah, and they're virtuosos at it. Stanley Johnson had an interesting comment yesterday about someone was asked who's the best shooter on the team. He's like, wait, we all, if we're in the gym just shooting in practice, we're all making every shot. It's when the lights are on and the game's playing. He's like, and I thought Stanley Johnson was amazing yesterday. It's at UtahJazz.com if you get a chance to see it, where he's like, I just haven't shot it well enough when the lights are on.
I love that
I thought he was just totally honest. He's like, am I in the gym? I've been working on my shooting for 5 years. I'm in the gym alone. I'm making my shots. I'm hoping this year when the lights are on, I make more shots. I thought it was just such an incredible comment.
It's a great answer.
That's Saban Lee right there. He's out of Vanderbilt, was acquired in the trade with Bojan Bogdanovic to Detroit. He came over, was the 39th pick of the draft out of Vanderbilt. He's played 2 years in the league. And he had the highlight. He will be the Twitter talk of the event today. He has been the highlight reel of the day.
Nice move by Jared Butler right there, just reading. I love the pace of his play. You know, he speeds it up when he needs to, but he doesn't allow the defense to speed him up. Nice change of hands on that.
His hesitation as a rookie was solid. There's a little floater for Colin Sexton. That's his game.
Number 2 for 2, Colin Sexton.
What do you think Will Hardy gets out of this film?
He treats it like a practice. I mean, you know, execution, looking at guys and see.
Nice pass, Jared.
Yeah, looking at guys like Walker Kessler.
He rolls at the right time.
He does. Yeah, it's great timing on his rolls. I think he's a guy, too, that doesn't have to get all the way to the basket. He can pop that little 5-footer.
Walker Kessler block shot. Showtime.
He's pulling this. Yes, sir.
Yeah, though, good defense by Jared Butler sliding off his defender to cut away the driving lane right there. All right, game winner here. Bucket, and we're done.
Hesitation. Hezzy. Got him.
The game. Number 13.
Jared Butler with the game winner.
Butler.
Bowler, well, there's Jared Butler. It's funny, I saw Jared Butler before the game in Edmonton. I was like, you nervous? He's like, I played in the Final Four. I was like, all right.
Good point.
Fair enough. Still a different season, new time. I don't take nervous as bad. I take nervous as excited.
Jazz
Let's go down to Bowler.
What do you think?
Malik Beasley's giving Bowler instructions.
I just heard, hold on, the rookies got to come out here and do a little dance. No singing? Walker's going to sing? Walker, come here. Let's sing a tune. Rookies, come over here. A little dance. Little dance. What do you want to sing? Walker, you go ahead. You lead. You lead the way.
What do y'all want to hear? None of y'all know what y'all want to hear. What do y'all want me to sing? You want to sing that? Let's go. Ain't no mountain high enough.
No mountain high enough? Okay.
Oh, you lead us. I don't know if I know that song. Okay. Y'all ready? We're doing Are we doing acapella or to? What about
Make my way downtown.
what song? Yeah, with no acapella is tough.
Why don't we go to a kid and ask him
You want to sing Happy Birthday? All right. All right, ready? All right. Baby shark doo 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 doo, baby shark doo 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 doo, baby shark doo 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 doo, baby shark. Mama shark doo 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 doo, mama shark doo 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 doo, mama shark doo 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 doo, mama shark. Papa shark, Papa shark doo 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 doo.
Oh, not bad. Good job. Life of a rookie. Hey, Jazz Nation, thank you so much for being here today. At 2 preseason games coming up this next week. Tuesday night, San Antonio, Dallas on Friday, and then the regular season starts the following Wednesday against the Denver Nuggets right here on this floor. Thanks for being here. Nice job, rookies. Nice job. Hey, be safe. Bear, you got a ball. Who do you? Nikhil? Got autographs. Who wants it? Over here. Nicely done. Hey, drive safe. Go Jazz.